What is up, WOWL Nation? This is Burger, and I wanted to put together a quick crypto review for everybody. I know he's in the sale shop this week, so I want to just kind of give my 2 cents on him. So, first and foremost, when I look at crypto, you kind of think of the history, and he's been around for a crazy long time. I believe he made his debut in 1955. Originally, it was just supposed to be kind of like a one-off character, kind of like you saw in a lot of the comics, Superman comics back then, right? Like always, a different power, different problem, different new character, and crypto kind of came out of that same mold, and so his history was as Jor-El was building the rocket to send Superman Kal-El, last son of Krypton, to a planet to be safe, where he could thrive underneath the yellow sun. Um, as natural, when you're looking at it, saying, "Hey, we obviously don't have the ships that can go do all this," and so rather than just shooting my only son through the universe to go over there, hey, I need a test dummy. So who better? Not the no robots, nothing like that. Nothing else could have test been the test dummy on this. So who better than our son's puppy could we shoot over there? And so while Crypto was en route, he got deflected, got off course, and ended up taking the scenic route, making it to Earth. So Kal-El arrived before. Crypto arrived later, but the same thing with all Kryptonians. Really thrived underneath the yellow sun, right? Like has all the same powers of Superman, in addition to probably what's written as the intelligence of a normal human. So, for Superman fans, I think this has been an ask for a really long time. You've seen lately, him, Crypto, kind of come more mainstream with the DC Super Pets, played by Dwayne the Rock Johnson, right? And so you have that going on. So been really really big lately, and he's really become a character that's kind of stood on his own. So now that brings us to DCL. You guys are like, "Hey, Burger, what do you think about the Crypto as a tune?" And so really, when I look at him, I first thing that comes to mind is, guys, I would say, unless you're a massive Kryptonian fan, massive crypto fan, I'd probably slow play this one unless you're just somebody that, hey, I really want to have a built out roster. When I look at it, as far as his kit goes, he has some interesting parts of his kit, but his highlight is he has to be able to survive if your team's really gonna benefit from having him on there, and his survivability out of the gate is not very strong. I've several times had an L5 versus L5 Spectre nuke him with his AoE, one hit KO right out of the gate, and that immediately takes away any type of benefit, right? So he's a little slower, and so therefore, when you do things like his stun, since he's a little slower, oftentimes the other team is going to get a turn right away, so you're not really getting a ton of benefit from this. But really, when we look at the kit, I would say, his one is fetch, and that's random damage, which this really is random damage, and generally I see it be on the lower side of damage, even against L5 physical tunes. But random damage plus 60% chance to apply 50% extra damage, 30% chance to apply another 50% extra damage, immune to awareness, and apply evasion downs on a single enemy. I've absolutely seen this work. Also apply random light additional damage, immune to awareness, and gain 4 mens. I've seen the 4 mens work as well. So when I look at it, this would be my first item to take him, just because you really need those 4 mens. You need to get those going early on. Good news is he can stack them. I've seen several times where, he, has 8, 12 men's going. And that really helps out his survivability, which will then open up some of his other items in his kit. The next one, and, there's a few different ways you can go. Personally, I think the apply true sight to all allies, which is his third legendary. So I would put this in quotation marks. Heavy damage. I don't ever really see him do heavy damage, but heavy damage and apply taunt and enrage to a single target. There is a flaw here. Personally, I think his kit is kind of in the wrong order. Having apply true sight to all allies at the same time as you're applying heavy damage, or what says heavy damage, and applying taunt and enrage to a single target is kind of counterproductive. I would prefer him and his allies get true sight prior. Maybe it's through his passive, and this being on one of his passives instead of one of the other legendaries. So that way, he can go around a turn 0 taunter. I mean, what's worse than, you see some of the stronger turn 0 taunters in the game, like Parasite, if you have Barda, Superman, somebody else on the other team, and you're like, hey, you want them to stay taunting, and I'm going to throw taunt on you while I give my teammates true sight to get around you. So doesn't make a whole lot of sense that, but again, I am a big fan of the true sight to all the allies, so I would take his 3 second. After that, again, you can kind of go a couple different ways. I think his 4, I would take his 4 because, again, this is all about his survivability. So his 4 is passive ability. When attacked, purge 5 total debuffs from his teammates at the end of the enemy team's round. When attacked, and then his legendary is when attacked, purge 3 total debuffs from himself at the end of the enemy team's round. So basically, you're pulling 5 debuffs, and then 3 from himself, 5 from a random teammate when attacked. And so I think this is all about his survivability. So I took his 4 next. And then really, it kind of goes between his 2 and his 5. I really wish his 5 was a passive. And since it's not, and it's team leader, I took that 5th. And part of that's because it's 50% chance to gain debuff immunity and apply debuff immunity to a random ally. So again, I took his 5 5th, and so that means his 2, I would take 4. His 4th, or his number 2, I would take 4th. His 2 I actually like. I like the stun and the damage. Again, it's light damage like the rest of his kit. The stun is pretty nice to have. But then, having the legendary also apply 3 evasion downs, it's nice. I've seen it stick versus like Batgirl led teams that didn't have Harley Quinn. And so I've seen those hit pretty regularly. I have seen times where the stun hits and the evasion downs do not, and the evasion downs hit and the stun does not. But overall, I would take this 4th just because, you are seeing a lot of evasion in the current meta with Cheshire and stuff like that going on, and, Nightwing and stuff. So that little bit of extra help, I think, could go a long way. So to summarize that, I'd say 1, then is 3, then is 4, then is 2, then is 5. If you are really into Kryptonians and crypto, go for it. I mean, personally, I'm obviously really into Kryptonians, and so I really jumped at him to get him going. But I would say, average person, you're not going to get a lot of utility out of this. This kit, I think, is kind of jumbled up. There are some bright spots to it, some cool aspects of it, but I think we kind of missed a little bit on where the legendaries were, how the legendaries go, and I think the developers had like probably their head in the right spot, right? From, hey, we need somebody that can purge some of these heavy debuff teams that are going on out there, but overall very difficult to keep alive. Even when I do surround him with people that should help him stay alive, really difficult to keep him alive, and therefore, it's really hard to get the most out of his kit that you would want. And so, yeah, it's my crypto review. Last thing I would say, look, guys, I know it's hard. A lot of times lately, Reddit, Discords, everything. There's a lot of negativity out there. A lot of people that have their opinion and say, hey, I want to project my opinion on everybody around us. There's no secret that the game's taken its lumps lately, right? And we've all felt it. But the thing I would tell everybody, look, if we're going to get through this, and if we want the game to remain strong, we have to do it as a community. Again, I know sometimes it's easy to get stuck in that rabbit hole. A lot of negativity fuels a lot of other negativity. If you see a troll, ignore them, downvote them, because they're not doing anybody any good. You see people adding constructive criticism. Hey, that's cool. But these people that are out there just say, I want to attack everybody. I want to attack you if you spend. I want to attack you if you don't spend. Just remember, they probably don't have a lot of other stuff going on in their life. If you're one of those people that's doing it, yes, I'm talking to you. But again, like, we're a community. We all came together because we love these characters. We love what they stand for. So let's try to be a little positive when we're out there and out and about. But with that, guys, thanks for listening to Krypto Review. Look forward to interacting with everybody soon. And yeah, thanks for listening to WOWL.